How would you answer this question over here? Well, this question is pretty straightforward. They give us an equation and they're asking what value of z satisfies the equation above. So just solve for c. So our equation is that 2z plus 1 is equal to z. So we can move everything with z to one side, everything without a z to the other side. So to get rid of the z on the right side, we can minus z. If we do it on that side of the equal, we have to do it on this side of the equal. Z minus z cancels out. And what's 2z minus c? 1z. Plus 1 is equal to nothing, so 0. And now we can move the plus 1 from the left to the right. So what's the opposite of plus 1? Minus 1. If we do it on that side of the equal, we have to do it to the other side of the equal. What's 1 minus 1? They cancel out. And that gives us that z is equal to negative 1. Our answer is right there. Follow for more. How would you answer the question above? Pretty straightforward. So as you can see, the top is a difference of squares. So these x squared minus 1 can be factored as x plus 1, x minus 1. So we replace the numerator with that. We get that x plus 1, x minus 1, over x minus 1 is equal to negative 2. So the same factor are in the top and the bottom. So that means we can cross it out. So x minus 1 here cancels with x minus 1. And we are left with x plus 1 is equal to negative 2. So how do we get rid of that plus 1? We do the opposite, minus 1. If we do it on the left side, we have to do it on the right side. 1 minus 1 cancels out. And we are left with x is equal to negative 2 minus 1, which is negative 3. Our answer is right there. Follow for more. Do you know the equation of a circle? This question over here might be on your SAT, and if you don't know the equation of the circle, you're not going to be able to answer. So the equation of a circle is defined as x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And h comma k in our equation is the center, and r is our radius. So knowing this equation is pretty simple to answer. They tell us the center is 5 comma 7, so you know that's going to be your h and your k. And they tell us that the radius is 2, so that's going to be your r. So now we can just replace our numbers into our equation. So we know x minus h, so minus 5, square, plus y minus k, so minus 7, equals our radius, which is 2 squared. And 2 squared, we can rewrite it as 4. So our answer is right here. Follow for more. Do you know what SOHCAHTOA stands for? So SOHCAHTOA stands for the sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse, the cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, and the tangent is the opposite over the adjacent. So it tells us what the sine, the cosine, and the tangent are of different angles in a triangle, right triangle. So in this case, they're asking for the cosine of E, okay? So let's circle E. So cosine, that's gonna be the middle part, the cut part, this part over here. So we know that the cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, the A over the H. So we need to determine which side is what. So the easiest one to spot is always gonna be the opposite. So the opposite of E is gonna be over here. The hypotenuse is always the longest side. So these over here is gonna be our H. And our leftover side is going to be our adjacent. So as you can see, the big triangle doesn't have any numbers, but because ABC is similar to DEF, we can use ABC to solve for it. So E is going to be the same as B. And if we need to determine what the cosine is, we know it's going to be, these are going to be our opposite, adjacent and hypotenuse. So we can do our adjacent over hypotenuse. So 12 over 13. And our answer is right here. Follow for more. How do you answer this question over here? Well, it's pretty simple. 20 minus x equals 15. So we can easily spot that the x has to be 5 because 20 minus 5 is 15. What is the value of 3x? Well, it's going to be 3 times 5, which is 15. And our answer is right here. Follow for more. How would you answer this question over here? Well, this question, they're asking for f of negative 1. So all we have to do is wherever there's an x in our equation, replace it with the negative 1. So that gives us that f of negative 1 is equal to negative 1 plus 3 over 2. Negative 1 plus 3 is 2 over 2, which that gives us 1. And our answer is right here. Follow for more. Do you know how to answer this question right here? Well, they're asking what is the distance between the two x-intercepts. So to find the two x-intercepts, we can set the equation equal to 0. And to solve for it, we can factor. So we can grab the number 4, put it on the side, and we need two numbers that multiply to 4 and add up to 5. So the only numbers that multiply to 4 is either 1 and 4 or 2 and 2. And because they need to add up to 5, we can grab 1 and 4. So that's what goes inside of our parentheses, x plus 1, x plus 4 equals 0. And then set each one individually equal to 0. So x plus 1 equals 0, and x plus 4 equals 0. So what are the value of our x's? X equals -1 and x equals -4. So now, what is the distance between those two numbers? So from -4 to -1, there are 3 jumps. So our answer is right here. Follow for more. How would you answer these questions right here? Well, they tell us that a over b is equal to 2. So if a over b is equal to 2, 2 is the same as 2 over 1, b over a is going to be equal to 1/2. So now, what is the value of 4b over a? Well, that's going to be 4 times b over a, which was 1/2. So what's 4 times 1/2? 4 times 1/2 is 2. And our answer is right here. Follow for more. Do you know this SAT trick? They're asking what is the solution of x minus y. So we could solve for x and y and subtract them, but why would we do that? So if you add both equations, that gives us that 5x minus 5y is equal to -20. And now what can we do? Divide by 5. If you divide these by 5, divide that by 5, and divide that by 5, you get that x minus y is equal to -4. So what's the solution of x minus y? -4. Our answer is right there. Follow for more. Do you know how to answer these questions right here? Well, they tell us that the absolute value of n minus 1 plus 1 is equal to 0. So to get rid of these plus 1, we can minus 1 on both sides. These two cancel out. And that gives us that the absolute value of n minus 1 is equal to -1. So as we know, an absolute value is never going to give us a negative answer. So the answer is D. Follow for more.